Let's dive into what is, honestly, one of the most personal and encouraging psalms in the entire Bible. We're looking at Psalm 34, a song that was literally born from a moment of pure desperation. But it turns into this powerful invitation for all of us to experience God's goodness for ourselves.
And this devotional is brought to you by the team at You Need Faith in Jesus. So, let's get into the incredible story behind this psalm.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a situation where it just felt like there was absolutely no way out? You know that moment where every single option seems worse than the last, and you feel like you're backed into a corner with nowhere left to turn?
Well, that feeling? That's the exact setting for this psalm. I mean, just imagine this. You were the future king of a nation, but right now, you're a fugitive. And to save your own life, you have to pretend to be a complete madman in front of an enemy king. It honestly sounds like a movie plot, but this is the real-life drama behind this incredible song of praise.
So, to really get it, you've got to understand the historical context. You have David, who's already been anointed to be the next king of Israel, but he's on the run from the super jealous King Saul. He ends up fleeing into enemy territory, the land of Gath, and comes face to face with its king, Achish. When David realizes they know who he is and his life is in serious danger, he does something wild. He feigns insanity. He's scribbling on the gates, letting saliva run down his beard, just completely unhinged, until King Achish is so disgusted he just throws him out. It was a desperate, probably humiliating moment.
And it's right after this terrifying escape, right after being delivered from what seemed like certain death, that David writes Psalm 34. See, this isn't just a poem. It's a raw personal testimony. It's the sound of a man who was just rescued and literally cannot stop his fear from turning into worship. Let's see how he puts it into words.
In Psalm 34, verse 4, David gives us his first-hand account. He says, "I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and delivered me from all my fears." Think about that. In his moment of absolute panic, he turned his focus to God. And notice the result. God didn't just deliver him from the enemy king, he delivered him from his fears. That's a whole other level of deliverance.
Now here's what's so brilliant. David makes this personal story universal in verse 6, which says, "This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles." He doesn't say, "This future king cried," or "this mighty warrior." No, by calling himself this poor man, he's making it crystal clear that this promise isn't just for him. It's for anyone who finds themselves helpless and cries out to God. So here's the crucial point. David's personal story becomes this open, public invitation. He doesn't just want to tell us what God did for him. He wants every single one of us to experience it for ourselves.
And that leads us right to the heart of the psalm in verse 8. "O taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him." This isn't just a command to learn a fact about God. It's an invitation to engage your spiritual senses, right? You don't know if a meal is good just by reading the recipe. You have to actually taste it. In the exact same way, we're invited to personally experience God's character through our own active trust.
Okay, but how do we do that? I mean, how do we actually position ourselves to experience this goodness? Well, this psalm is also a wisdom psalm, and David gives us a very practical guide for living a life that walks in God's blessing.
In verses 13 and 14 of Psalm 34, he lays out these really actionable steps. He writes, "Keep thy tongue from evil and thy lips from speaking guile. Depart from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it." This shows us it's a process, right? It starts with our words, then moves to our actions, and it ends up shaping our entire attitude. These daily choices are the very path to experiencing God's goodness.
But beyond the practical steps, this psalm is just packed with these incredible promises of divine protection for anyone who trusts and reveres God. Just look at the powerful imagery here in Psalm 34, verse 7. "The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them." That word, encampeth, it isn't just a quick visit. It suggests a military encampment, like a permanent protective barrier set up all around you. It's a promise of constant, powerful, unseen security for those who revere God.
And the promises just keep coming. Verse 17 says God hears the cry of the righteous. Verse 18 promises he is close to the brokenhearted. And verse 19 is just so real. It acknowledges, hey, the righteous will have many afflictions, but it follows that with this massive promise. But the Lord delivereth him out of them all. And finally, verse 22 gives the ultimate assurance. He redeems the very soul of his servants.
So when you look at it, the journey of Psalm 34 is really the journey of faith itself.
It takes us from a dark cave of fear, with David literally acting like a madman just to survive, all the way to this wide-open field of worship. His incredible story of deliverance isn't just history, it's a timeless invitation for you and me.
And that leaves us with a question to really think about. Based on everything we've just seen, where is one area in your life this week, maybe a specific fear, a tough relationship, a challenging situation, where you can take a step of active trust to truly taste and see that the Lord is good?
Thanks so much for joining us. This devotional was brought to you by the You Need Faith in Jesus team.